so great to be back. I started coming to Unity of Key West in the late 90s. Reverend Evelyn was one of the first ministers to give me a chance when I was just getting started when it was over on Duck Avenue. And Laura Watts was here at the time, and we've been through lots of changes with y'all, and apparently even more so since we were last here in 2011, which I don't know about who feels like 2011 was another lifetime ago. It's just really, what the heck? Shift has been happening. So today our message is getting high on God. We're going to talk about as many of the different ways that we can get high, raise our happy drug level. There's a lot of different names for happy drugs. Dopamine, often called the pleasure drug. Oxytocin, also called the love drug or the love hormone. And serotonin, which is often called the happy drug. These are all inside of our fabulous pharmaceutical brain, just waiting to supply us with these drugs.
So what do you like to call what we do?
I call them all happy drugs, and I believe that Angelina and I are actually happy drug dealers. And the pause is very important in that statement. You can't say happy drug dealers. You have to say happy drug dealers. It could be a whole different thing. So hopefully we're going to raise everybody's vibration, where you're going to feel happier just by hanging out with us today. I feel very happy.
I do too, but I'm going to just interrupt because this isn't a normal thing that Armand wears. So I just wanted to say what the elephant in the room is. So he sometimes wears the jacket with just black pants. It's a little more subtle. But today he felt he wanted to be, here in Key West.
I'm in Key West, baby.
So
I think I may have underdressed.
So hopefully you're all okay with that.
But colors make you feel high. They do. They
That
raise your vibration. Aromatherapy raises your vibration.
I think as far as colors, that's one of the reasons why I love Key West, because you can drive down a road and see all these houses that are all these beautiful colors, and it just brings me so much joy.
Absolutely. Now, one of the greatest ways we have to get high, and I love that your daily word is caring today, is by being around people that we get to care for and they get to care for us. Okay, that raises our vibration. That gets chemicals going. I used to be a Youth of Unity director, music director, and also a sponsor. So did a lot of work with the Youth of Unity from 1996 to about 2001. And then Angelina and I have done music for many different rallies, including Unity Village, the Eastern region. I've done stuff for the Southeastern region. And so I'd go away on a weekend and I would literally be floating for a few weeks after that. They actually call it the rally high. We go away on a rally.
What a great event for young adults, because I feel they get to self-express, and if someone's a little timid or shy, the people that have been to all these rallies before make them feel very welcome. And I thought, boy, that would have been great, because I'm more of the shy type. That would have been great when I was young to have a group of young people with me to kind of help and support me and shine.
And wild and crazy adults that were there too. Right. So it really was a great feeling to have that, to be that. You've been to some of those rallies and you were like, wow, this is special. So I remember coming back from a rally one time and I said, this is the feeling we're looking for with drugs and alcohol and other things. We're looking for this high, and there's a part of us that if we're not sort of naturally high, we will crave it, and that's actually a good thing. You should crave it, but you should crave to try to get it in non-addictive type things that will actually be healthy for you, and there are tons of them out there. Okay, so yes, being around people that get you where you're allowed to care for them, they're able to care for you, that's gonna raise your vibration. I came back from a rally and I said, I am so high, I'm going to write a song about that. So this is a call and response song. It's called I Get High on YOU. Now, YOU can stand for Youth of Unity, but it can also stand for you, YOU. So this is, just repeat after me, I get high on YOU. I'm going to get my happy hat. I feel even high when I wear this.
Oh, there you go.
Now that's a hat. I get high on YOU.
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 I don't need a train.
Don't need a train.
I don't need a ship.
Don't need a ship.
I don't need a plane
Don't need a plane
to take this trip.
to take this trip.
I don't need a drug.
Don't need a drug.
I don't need a brew.
Don't need a brew.
'Cause I get high
'Cause I get high
on YOU.
on YOU.
I get high 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 on YOU.
Your little girl
Your little girl
and your little
and
boy
your little boy
needs to come out
needs to come out
and feel the joy.
and feel the joy.
I see you
I
as
see you as
young and wild.
young and wild.
'Cause in God's eyes,
In God's eyes,
you're still a child.
you're still a child.
I get high on YOU.
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 Follow me and you'll get high too.
Follow me and get high.
Amen. It's a contact buzz. So, what are some of the ways you like to get high?
Well, I always go to gratitude, so gratitude brings me joy, and it's good to go to gratitude when you're not feeling maybe so high, just to remember, say, like I like to wake up in the morning and say, thank you, God, for this glorious day. Here are 3 things I'm grateful for. And then that just uplifts me. And then at the end of the evening, Alan Cohen said this one time, lay in bed and just reflect on the joys of your day. So again, it just brings more joy into you, and I love that.
It doesn't mean we're in denial of the challenging things.
Correct.
It means that we're just bringing extra attention to the things that went our way. Some people say, oh, you're part of that unity church. That's one of those feel-good churches. I'm like, yeah, where do you go? Someplace makes you feel like crap? I mean, yeah, it's a feel-good church. And it's not because unity is in denial of the challenging and the things where we need to put our prayers and our energy.
Right.
We don't think that the cup is only half full. We know it's half empty too. We focus on the half full.
Right.
Okay, it doesn't mean that we're not noticing the other part.
Right,
We
'cause
focus on the half
it's
full.
good to express those feelings also when you're not feeling so high, because then
That's
they get stuck inside you, and then it's harder to feel that high, because if you don't let out the tears or the anger, it's really hard then to let in the joy.
Right, holding those feelings in without expressing them is actually a buzzkill. It will actually make you have less of your happy drugs. So you go down into those areas, you visit them, you figure out what you need to do, but you don't buy property there.
Right.
You come back to the happy place, you come back to the place of gratitude, and know that all is well. So there's a whole lot of little things that we learn in unity that help us get back to that place. Everything's in divine order is a really great one. We were on our way here, and because it's an 8-hour drive, we figured we'd try to compensate a little bit financially by getting some gigs on the way. So we booked a gig Friday night, and we booked a gig Saturday morning, and near the Jupiter area, and nobody showed up. Like, they didn't get any registrations, and they didn't get any attendance, and so they canceled it. So we had a wonderful evening in a hotel and watched movies.
Right.
And so
Which was great, because if we had left on a Saturday and drove the whole time in one day, it would have been...
we'd have been exhausted by the
Right.
time we got to your house. So
And if we had been home Friday, I'm a project person, so I probably wouldn't have had that down, chilled time of watching movies and relaxing, because I always find stuff to do. So.
And that's why
And I need
everything's
that
in divine
relaxed
order helps us to get through those challenging times, because if you think things should have been different than they were, you won't feel good. But if you trust it, even when you don't understand it, that it's all in divine order and it works out. So that's one of our favorite ones.
I'm going to talk about oxytocin.
I love oxytocin.
Okay, that's one of those happy drugs.
I'll get some right now.
So they did a study with animals. We are animal lovers. We love dogs, cats, baby goats. We love all animals.
Who's ever done baby goat yoga? It's awesome.
It's so fun. Oh, so fun. So anyway, they did a study on dogs that shows that they get oxytocin. So, you're petting a dog, like this, and he loves it, and you stop petting, and he nudges for more.
Cats too.
The cats do that too. They said that in their brain, they get oxytocin, and they want more of that love, happy drug. So.
Yeah. So that's it. So animals are great.
And what happens too is we get the oxytocin too when they're like rubbing against us and loving us. So for us, because we're animal lovers, that is a great way to get high.
And so another slogan that you can use is everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. We'll be singing a song about that at some point in this message. Another thing is there's no such thing as rejection. It's God pointing me in another direction. You've probably heard that before. These are all unity things that I learned that help me to deal with the challenges when things don't go my way. Okay? In Buddhism, they say life is dukkha. Now, some people translate that to be life is suffering. I can't handle that word that well. There is some suffering in life, but I don't want to live thinking life is suffering. But I translate it as life is not always going your way. And that is true. I don't care how many times you've seen The Secret. Life does not always go the way you want it to go. And that's what I believe that Buddha meant when he said life is dukkha. And we learn these tools to help us when life doesn't go the way we think it should, to trust that it's going the way it's supposed to go. Okay, what else do you like to do?
I'm going to talk about serotonin now.
Serotonin.
So we've been, I'm going to tell your story, you can fill in. Armand played tennis the other day, too much tennis because it was so hot, and then he gave plasma. And he found that he was not feeling well after that and found that he was dehydrated. So we're on this kick of making sure we drink lots of water because it's really good for us, for all of us, not just those athletic people like Armand is. And so what the study shows that when we drink water, it actually gives us serotonin, which is the happy chemical in our brains. So not only does water nourish our bodies, it nourishes our mental, physical, emotional, all of that. So drink a cup or 2 or 3 or 4 of water today and see what happens.
And another great thing is I found out that if you have a little pink Himalayan or Celtic salt when you're getting ready to drink your water, the salt in your system will actually cause the water to stay in better. Because what I was doing is I was drinking a lot of water, but it was all leaving my body. It wasn't staying in very well because I'm on a very low, kind of a low salt diet. And so I'm just finding all these new ways. And I told Angelina, I said, not only does my body feel better now that I'm getting a lot more fluid staying in me, I don't have to get up and go to the bathroom as many times in the middle of the night either with the salt because it holds it in. Anybody have to get up 4 or 5 times? It's not fun. It is not fun. So yeah, salt helps with that. And I told her, I said, I actually feel like my dopamine levels are higher. Let me do some research on it. And they said it wasn't dopamine, it's actually serotonin. And they kind of work together. And so, yeah, there's all these free drugs out there just by doing certain things. Another great thing, we all know, being in nature raises our happy drugs, okay? Serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, all that. Being in nature. Having your feet barefoot in the dirt, in the sand, in the water.
Because we live in a concrete world, right? So very few times that we take our shoes off and get in the soil, in the dirt.
In Key West, they live in this kind of world. It's not concrete, but it's the same idea.
Oh, yeah, well, yes, you're.
But yeah, getting your feet actually on the earth raises your happy drugs. And so all these different things contribute.
Those good ions that it gives you too, right?
That's right. Being in a forest, being in nature, y'all have so much water and beach. I mean, just driving. Listen to this. This is a miracle. Now, I've been coming to Key West for 25 years. When we left Florida City, I didn't have to touch my brake pedal until Marathon. Now, that's almost unheard of. Now, I also downshift and do things like that to play the game. But still, it's a miracle this time of year. This must be a pretty slow time of year or something because it was great. She goes, what are you doing? You're about to hit that car. I says, downshift, I'm all right. Okay, you know.
He's always
But then in
playing
marathon,
games.
you got some lights and stuff like that, so I was
Yeah,
not
you had
able
to
to
give
pull off
up.
my game. But the fact that we got to drive in this beautiful area and see all these bodies of water, she took pictures of all these different
Oh,
things.
yeah.
And just to be,
Paradise
I
here.
forgot how much we loved this place, and I missed it so much. And so delighted to get more happy doors. Now, one of the things that kind of brings me down a little bit is when I realize that a lot of people, when they're guest speakers and musicians, they use this platform to self-promote. I'd like to read something from my book. Anyway, yeah, I wrote a book since I was last here. It's called I Now Pronounce You Not Guilty. It's all about removing any idea that you're guilty or shameful. So here's one little paragraph or so. Everything will be okay as soon as you are okay with everything. And that's the only time everything will be okay. Michael Singer, author of The Untethered Soul. Faith, F-A-I-T-H, has been said to stand for feeling all right in the heart. Feeling all right in the heart does not mean we always understand everything. It doesn't mean we don't get confused. It just means that we trust, as John Lennon said, everything will be okay in the end. Being confused is okay. Thinking that there is something wrong with us for being confused, that is the problem. As Byron Katie says, how do we know if something happened the way it was meant to happen? If it happened. Now that sounds easy, right? It's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy to trust that if it's happened, it happened the way it was supposed to happen. It is what it is. And then you move on and you make your adjustments after that. It gives you a lot more happy drugs to think that the world is happening in divine order than to think that it should be a lot
That's kind of
different.
our main thing is divine order, right?
We go, divine order,
We
I'm
go to
sorry,
that.
it's a crutch. I go to divine order whenever I start to feel bad. It's divine order. Like the other day I did something, I don't remember what it was, but it was not skillful. Okay, it was not a good thing. It's not what I want to do in the future, and I learned from it. And Angelina says, you're right. That wasn't the smartest thing in the world to do. But it was in divine order or you wouldn't have done it. And I'm like, oh, you're right. I would have thrown off the entire workings of the universe had I done the smart thing. You know, and that doesn't mean we don't have accountability, and that doesn't mean we don't have consequences.
And do you know what comes from those kind of experiences?
Yes.
Wisdom.
Wisdom. We're
Irritating.
bad judgment leads to good judgment. How many things, for many of us, it was our first marriage. You know, we went that route, it didn't work out, and it gave us better judgment, and we got to work it out. It's the universe is always conspiring on our behalf. Have you ever heard of the word pronoia? Pronoia, it's the opposite of paranoia. It means you believe that the world is conspiring on your behalf. You're one of those people that goes, oh my God, I think people are talking about me and they're saying nice things. God is conspiring, everything is in my favor. There's a great video on YouTube by a girl named Carly Pearl. It's called Pronoia. It's extremely posy and new thought. And we're going, this is sort of a famous person. We've never heard of her in our New Thought movements, but she's kind of new thought. So I went to her website and I saw a picture of her and Michael Beckwith. And I thought, okay, yeah, she's getting inspiration for her music. She just happens to be kind of big time. But anyway, pronoia, the opposite of paranoia, also called reverse paranoia. When you're pronoia, your vibrations go up. You trust that things are working in your favor. When you're paranoid, your vibrations go down. It depletes your dopamine, your serotonin, and your oxytocin. So to me, it's all about doing all we can to get high and stay high naturally as possible. For me, having a very stimulating career where I meet new people and travel all around the country, that's very important for my levels. Angelina, what's very important for her levels is nesting. So we were talking about that last night with Susan, finding that balance between me getting, a kind of a stimulation junkie and Angelina having plenty of time in Orlando to nest in our home. Right. And it's taken 60 years for us to find kind of a balance of that. And we're working towards more, giving her more of what she wants, because she kind of went my way for many, many years. And I get to always use, well, financially we need to be on the road more. And she's, so I'm, using that twist. So anyway, I think what we will do,
what about things that we love to do? Like, I think what happened during COVID, you found an old new love. And I think that brings us joy. And so when we're feeling like, wow, I need a little uplifting, for me it'd be probably organizing a closet. I don't know, but for you.
Yeah, finding something that'll raise your vibration when you're, COVID was super, super tough for me, because for 15 months, there was not much we could do. The churches weren't having us, and it was really tough. So I re-embraced bass fishing, which I had done as a little kid. And I realized that when a fish hits that lure under the water, I got this shot of dopamine. So I'd be leaving in the morning, I'd get my dopamine, and then I'd come back, have lunch, I'd go back out for dopamine that night. And it was like crazy. If you know fishermen freaks, they're not going for the fish. It's all about the dopamine. They're chasing dopamine. And we're all chasing dopamine to a certain extent. We find the things that make us feel good. If you want a lot of dopamine, go see the Barbie movie. We had dopamine for a month after that movie. We got to go back and get another hit. But yeah, find things that make you feel good, that you enjoy doing.
And you do catch and release. So.
I do catch and release. I even take the barbs off the hook so they can shake it off themselves, make it a little more fair for the fish.
But he has a fishing pole in our van, and when we travel, if he sees a little pond or whatever, he'll say, hey, do you care if I stop and fish a little? And so I'll get on my phone and he does his fishing.
Quick shot of happy drugs. And being with people that are crazy about you and that you're crazy about help a lot. Having a nice, beautiful, fabulous home that you've made into a resort, that kind of stuff can make you feel, get your levels up when you love where you live. You walk in and you go, your body tells you. Abraham Hicks, if you studied any of their work, Abraham Hicks always says you have an internal GPS. It's an emotional GPS system. If you're around the people you're supposed to be around, you will feel good. If you're doing a job you're supposed to do, you will feel good. If you're in an environment you're supposed to be in, you will feel good. And if you're not, your internal GPS will say, redirecting route. We used to have a GPS that had a British accent. We loved it. She was like, make your first authorized U-turn. I'd pass the street just to hear her say that. It was good. And now we have Waze on our phone, and we have a golden retriever. And it says, make a left turn coming up here. I wonder if they've got toys. And if he tells you to make a U-turn, he says, make your first U-turn. That's almost like chasing your own tail. But those little silly things make us feel good. And again, today's all about finding different ways to raise your vibration so you're happy. Okay? We're happy that there are people all over the world right now watching us live. You're having a great time. And to have 300 people here today is amazing. You folks in the back, I mean, we haven't had this many people here for a while. Wow. Oh, 320. Sorry. Thank you. We got a counter here. So it's great. Okay. So let's finish up this part of the message with our song that was inspired by a very, very happy movie called The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. Has anybody seen it? Wonderful line, the young innkeeper, he was obviously a John Lennon fan. He would always say to them when they would complain, oh, but the water pressure's terrible. Everything will be okay in the end. They would say, yeah, but it's not okay now. He goes, well, it must not be the end. I'll fix it. You see, you start moving in the direction of fixing the situation, but you trust while you're moving in that direction that it's all going to work out. So we hope that you will sing along with us. Let me do something just to make it more fun. Now, this is not cultural appropriation. This is cultural appreciation. Because we're going to do an island song in honor of the islands. Okay, we're going to have you help us out. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Nothing in this universe will ever last. So if you're feeling low, this too shall pass. Nothing in this universe will ever last. So if you're feeling low, this too shall pass. Because everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Sing along at home. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. We're gonna sha-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la-la. Every happy song has to have some sha-la-la-las in it. Sha-la-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la. Can you hear us in the back? Okay. Even when the darkness seems to hide your way, after every night, a brand new day. Even when the darkness seems to hide your way, after every night, a brand new day. A brand new day. A beautiful sunny day. Oh yeah, here we go. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Let's sha-la-la-la again. Sha-la-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la-la. Okay, here comes the tricky part. Even when it all just seems to go your way, don't get attached, it's gonna change. Even when it all just seems to go your way, no matter how many self-help books you read, it's still gonna change. That's okay, because everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Just the audience. It's not the end, it's not the end. It's not the end. So if you don't like the weather, wait an hour. It's not the end. It's not the end. If you can't believe all they talk about on TV are politics, it's not the end. It's not the end. Woo! It's not the end. But this is the end of our message.